7 powerful ways God introduces you to your soulmate, psychology tricks. Love is not something you find. Love is something God reveals when the time and the person is right. Have you ever had this thought cross your mind? What if I've already met the woman God has for me and I walked right past her? As men, especially after 35, we've lived enough life to know that real love usually doesn't look like a movie scene. It's rarely fireworks, drama, or some huge moment where the heavens open and a voice announces, "This is the one." More often, when God is weaving someone into your story, it feels calm, natural, and strangely right, even if nothing looks spectacular on the surface. Maybe you've been praying for a partner, maybe you've been disappointed, or maybe a part of you wonders if that season has already passed. The truth is, if you're still here, God is still working. The real question isn't, is God doing something? The real question is, will you recognize it when He does? In this message, we're going to look at 7 powerful ways God often introduces you to your soulmate quietly, strategically, and with purpose. As you read, you may begin to see your past conversations, current friendships, or even ordinary encounters in a very different light. By the end, my prayer is that you'll have more peace, clarity, and confidence about where you are right now and a deeper awareness of how God might already be guiding you toward the woman He has chosen for you. 1. God prepares you before they arrive. Before God introduces you to the woman meant to walk beside you, He doesn't start with fireworks or butterflies, He starts with you. That is the divine secret most men overlook. He prepares you before she arrives, and if you ignore that preparation, you risk mistaking loneliness for love and emotional dependence for destiny. Don't rush the process. Be willing to understand that to God, love is not just chemistry, it's covenant. It's bigger than late night calls and a smile when she walks into the room. To God, love has weight, responsibility, purpose. You must develop the mindset of a high value man, the kind of man who carries masculine energy with quiet confidence and spiritual depth, because God will not place a queen in the hands of a man who still behaves like a wounded boy. Think of your heart as soil. A wise gardener doesn't scatter precious seeds on cracked ground. He breaks it, tills it, uproots weeds, clears stones. Only then can the soil produce fruit. That is what God does with a man before his soulmate appears. He digs into your past, confronts the pain you buried, pulls out insecurity, heals the places betrayal hardened, and reveals the issues you've been avoiding. It can feel like delay, like nothing is happening, like life is moving forward for everyone else but you, but don't be fooled. Delay is not denial. Delay is divine alignment. Don't complain. Be alert. A man who complains during preparation is usually the man who collapses during responsibility. You must understand the weight of God's message. I care about you too much to give you something you are not ready to carry. That is why He separates you. That is why doors close. That is why certain people walk away. He's not subtracting, He's refining. He's building a high value man who knows how to carry love with dignity, protect it with wisdom, and nurture it with spiritual maturity. Ask yourself this: are you ready to attract women just for attention, or to nurture a covenant built on faith, purpose, and honor? Because a real soulmate is not just someone who makes you feel good. She guards your spirit, challenges your thinking, supports your mission, and walks with you toward God's calling. Real love doesn't just excite, it stabilizes. Don't chase emotions. Be rooted in intention. Look at Adam in Genesis 2. Before Eve arrived, Adam already knew his identity. He worked. He walked with God. He was fulfilled before love entered his life. Scripture says, "The Lord God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to work it and keep it." Adam wasn't desperate. He wasn't scrolling for validation or chasing connection to fill a void. His soul was already satisfied in God. That is the blueprint. Eve didn't complete him, she complemented him. Don't seek someone to rescue your loneliness. Be someone whose heart is too full to beg for love and too healed to settle for anything less than divine partnership. You must carry masculine energy that leads with strength but listens with love. Because without preparation, what starts with promise ends in pain, and many men mistake emotional chemistry for spiritual confirmation. Don't depend on butterflies to prove destiny. Butterflies are feelings, purpose is direction. A rail man seeks direction. A wounded man seeks distraction. Preparation feels uncomfortable because it exposes areas where growth is required. That uncomfortable season is not punishment, it is protection. God will stretch you, silence you, isolate you, and challenge you. Be wise. Don't run from healing. Don't numb the pain with distractions. Embrace it. A man who avoids healing repeats the same heartbreak. But a high value man faces it, learns from it, and upgrades his character. You must understand that God doesn't just want to attract women into your life, He wants to attract the right one. And the right one is drawn not to noise, but to purpose. Not to insecurity, but to stability. Not to neediness, but to masculine energy that is grounded in strength and guided by spiritual clarity. That is why God takes time. That is why silence lasts longer than you want it to, because He knows what you don't. Love cannot take root in unprepared soil. A relationship cannot flourish in an unhealed heart. If you skip the preparation, you will carry old wounds into new beginnings, and wounds eventually poison what they were supposed to protect. Don't let that be your story. Be the man who waits with purpose, heals with intention, and grows with faith. Preparation may feel like isolation, but isolation often precedes elevation. Don't settle out of loneliness and call it love. Don't choose temporary comfort over eternal alignment. You must become the man God can trust with the heart of the woman He has chosen for you. That is how you attract women the right way. Not through games or charm, but through quiet confidence, spiritual grounding, and unwavering purpose. A real soulmate doesn't just meet you where you are, she meets you where God is leading you. So remember this: God is not delaying your love story, He is designing it. And He's starting with you. Be ready, be grounded. Be the high value man who carries masculine energy with conviction and humility. Because when the soil is ready, the seed always finds its way. 2. Your paths cross in unexpected ways. When God introduces you to your soulmate, it often feels like life just took an unexpected turn, yet something deep inside tells you it's more than coincidence. That is where divine alignment begins and human control ends. Don't expect it to match your checklist. Don't wait for fireworks or perfect timing. God's purpose rarely follows your preferences. He operates with psychology tricks far wiser than your logical plans, and if your heart is not awake to His timing, you might miss what heaven calls providence. The world may label it luck, but female psychology reveals a truth. Women don't fall in love with plans, they fall in love with presence, purpose, and movement. That's the mystery behind how to fall in love. You must walk in your purpose, not chase validation. Divine connections rarely knock loud, they whisper through ordinary moments. Think of Ruth in Scripture. She wasn't looking for romance. She wasn't reading psychology tricks to find Boaz. She was serving Naomi, honoring commitment, simply doing what was right. Then comes the line that shifts everything. As it turned out, she was working in a field belonging to Boaz. As it turned out? No, as God arranged it. That is the power of unseen guidance. You must stop believing that love requires chasing. Start believing that obedience leads to alignment. Ruth wasn't flirting, she was focused. She didn't ask how to fall in love, she asked how to be faithful today. And that faithfulness became the bridge to destiny. If you want to understand female psychology, understand this. Genuine attraction begins when a man walks in purpose, not pressure. A woman doesn't want to rescue a man, she wants to recognize one. Be that man. Psalm 37:23 says, "The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord." Notice steps, not wishes. Not waiting. Not scrolling. Steps. God guides men in motion. You must walk, serve, grow, and build even when clarity is lacking. Don't stand still and complain about loneliness. Don't curse the season you're in. Be active. Be useful. That is one of God's subtle psychology tricks. Movement builds attraction. Why? Because when you're busy building, your spirit becomes magnetic. Purpose has a way of introducing you to people you never thought you'd meet. That unexpected conversation, that job change, that ministry assignment you didn't even want. That move to a new city that felt like chaos, but turned out to be choreography. Don't overlook the ordinary. It might just be your divine appointment in disguise. And here's the hidden layer of female psychology. When a woman sees a man walking in his calling, she doesn't just see him, she sees her possible future. She sees safety. She sees direction. She sees a path she might want to walk beside. That is how to fall in love without games or gimmicks. You don't chase attention, you attract alignment. Your steps, small as they may seem, carry prophetic weight. So don't despise your current season. Don't rush away from what feels insignificant. Some of your most meaningful connections will appear not while you're searching, but while you're serving. You must see your life as a field, just like Ruth saw Boaz's. Fields don't look romantic. They look like labor, dust, sweat, routine. But within that field, God hides purpose. Within that field, He weaves encounters. And within that field, when you least expect it, someone quietly enters your story. No spotlight, no cinematic music, just a conversation, and something quietly shifts. That's the mystery of how to fall in love. It happens not when you're trying to impress, but when you're busy being aligned. Don't chase a woman. Be a man worth recognizing. Be a man whose life has motion, momentum, and meaning. That's one of the greatest psychology tricks you'll ever learn. So remember this: God doesn't introduce your soulmate when you're begging for one. He introduces them when you've become one. Be the man who serves rather than searches. Be the man who walks rather than waits. Your obedience may be opening doors that desire never could. Destiny doesn't always shout. It often walks quietly next to you, disguised as routine. And sometimes, love shows up not when you were looking for it, but when you were simply doing what God asked of you. If you've made it to this point, you already understand something most men miss. Love doesn't always arrive with a spotlight. It often walks quietly beside purpose. Your obedience today may be opening doors for tomorrow. Comment this with conviction. I will keep moving in purpose and trust God with the alignment. 3. Your soulmate strengthens your faith. A true soulmate is not just a partner. He or she is a divine catalyst for growth, a force that strengthens your spirit, sharpens your purpose, and ignites your courage. Old Stoic wisdom teaches us that a man must measure his companions carefully, because the company you keep shapes the destiny you walk into. Don't confuse emotional excitement with divine alignment. Feelings fade, but spiritual conviction endures. That is the standard. That is the test. When God introduces you to your soulmate, He doesn't send someone who weakens your faith. He sends someone who elevates it. Let us be grateful to the people who make us happy, wrote Marcel Proust. They are the charming gardeners who make our souls blossom. That is the very purpose of a God-ordained relationship, not to distract you, but to develop you. Not to drain your spirit, but to deepen your faith. A soulmate makes you stronger, not softer. More focused, not confused. More disciplined, not distracted. That is how you know. Many men today settle for connections that entertain them rather than empower them. They want validation, not transformation. Don't fall into that trap. You must rise above it with an iron mind. Psychology tells us that long-term attraction is built on respect, shared purpose, spiritual connection, and clarity of values, not just chemistry. Chemistry sparks interest, but conviction sustains purpose. In Genesis 24, Abraham's servant prayed for guidance to find Isaac a wife, and before he even finished praying, Rebekah appeared. She was not just beautiful, she was the living answer to a prayer. That is how God works. He aligns events, He prepares hearts, He sends the right person at the right time. Modern life tries to make us believe everything is coincidence. Stoicism teaches the opposite. True strength is discerning purpose in every moment and resisting the noise of the world. Your soulmate aligns with what you've prayed for, not with what tempts you to lower your standards. If you must meet your calling, silence your faith, or tolerate what you know is wrong just to keep someone, that is not love, that is a spiritual detour. Don't compromise. Don't surrender your identity for temporary companionship. You must protect your spirit with strength. You must guard your purpose with clarity. As Marcus Aurelius said, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. So ask yourself, Does this person bring me closer to God or closer to regret? In Acts 18, Priscilla and Aquila were not just married, they were partners in kingdom work. They hosted ministry in their home, traveled with Paul, and fought for spiritual truth. Their bond was not built only on compatibility, it was built on a shared vision. That is the blueprint. That is the model. In today's world, many relationships collapse because they are based on feelings instead of foundations. Feelings shift. Foundations endure. Don't just seek comfort, seek alignment. Don't just search for affection, search for mission. God uses people to accelerate your destiny, but He also uses people to test your boundaries. You must know the difference. Old Stoic wisdom and the teachings of Iron Mind discipline remind you that what you tolerate becomes your teacher. So tolerate wisely. Don't let loneliness rush you. Don't let pressure blind you. Don't let desire deceive you. True love reveals God's presence, it does not hide it. The right person will not compete with your calling, they will complement it. They will challenge you to grow, not pressure you to shrink. They will make you more disciplined, not more divided. They will remind you to pray when emotions try to take over. They will stand beside you when life grows heavy. They will lift your faith when doubt tries to take root. That is divine introduction. That is how God works. Your soulmate is not meant to be a distraction in your life. They are meant to be a force of acceleration. Stoicism win means understanding that real strength is not loud, it is consistent. Real faith is not fragile, it is tested and proven. And real love is not manipulative, it is bold, intentional, and honest. Where there is great love, there are always miracles, wrote Willa Cather. God-sent relationships create miracles because they awaken purpose, sharpen discipline, and elevate faith. Don't chase temporary attention. Build eternal alignment. Don't settle for companionship without conviction. Let your standards be a filter. Let your faith be a compass. And let your heart remain grounded in truth. Modern life may be fast, noisy, and demanding, but that is exactly why you need clarity now more than ever. You must build an iron mind, not a fragile ego. When God sends the right person, you won't feel lost, pressured, or conflicted. You will feel focused, strengthened, and encouraged. That is the sign. That is the assurance. Old Stoic wisdom teaches, when the battle within and all other battles fade away. So let your faith be firm. Let your standards stand tall. And when that God-ordained soulmate appears, step forward with strength, with courage, with clarity, and build something worthy of your destiny. 4. God confirms through spiritual authority. When God is the one writing your love story, He doesn't just leave you guessing in the dark or floating on feelings you can't quite trust. He brings in spiritual authority and wise counsel as a kind of confirmation team to back up what He's already whispering in your heart, especially when it comes to something as life-shaping as a soulmate. Don't ignore that. Be honest with yourself. As a man, especially a high-value man who's spent years building a life, a career, a reputation, you know your decisions don't just affect your emotions, they affect your future, your finances, your family legacy. That is why God often uses pastors, mentors, older believers, and spiritually mature friends to either quietly nod in agreement with your relationship or gently raise a red flag when something is off. You must understand, this is not about being a grown man who still needs permission like a teenager. This is about being wise enough to invite godly, experienced eyes to look at what your heart may be too close to see clearly. Proverbs 11, 14 puts it plainly, where there is no guidance, a people falls, but in an abundance of counselors there is safety. That is not a suggestion. It is God revealing a principle for how you protect your destiny. A high-value man doesn't just chase chemistry. He checks alignment. He doesn't just ask, do I like her? But also, does this relationship honor God, stabilize my life, and move me closer to my calling? When you allow spiritual authority to speak into your relationship, you're not being weak. You're being strong enough to submit your feelings to truth. Don't confuse butterflies with peace. Butterflies can come from infatuation, loneliness, or even from finally getting attention after years of feeling unseen. But real peace is that steady, quiet confidence that doesn't need constant reassurance. Mature believers, a wise pastor, a trusted mentor, A godly friend who actually prays can sense that peace or the lack of it. They may not know every detail, but spiritual people often pick up on the tone of a relationship. Does she draw you closer to God or distract you from Him? Does your masculine energy feel grounded and calm around her or restless and anxious? Do you become a better man with her or a weaker version of yourself? Be very careful here. The enemy can absolutely counterfeit feelings. He can dress up infatuation to feel like fate, and he can use trauma bonding, loneliness, and ego to make the wrong woman feel like the only woman. That is why God will not limit confirmation to just how you feel when you're with her. Instead, he will often line up several voices who don't know each other's opinions, yet still echo the same sense. This seems good. I feel peace about this, or something feels off. Be cautious. The enemy can fake romance. He cannot fake consistent discernment from people who walk with God. A truly high value man who wants to attract women in a healthy, godly way will pay attention to that pattern. If three people who love you, pray for you, and have nothing to gain either way feel uneasy about your relationship, don't get defensive and call it jealousy or negativity. Consider that it may be God's protection, not people blocking your happiness. You must be humble enough to listen. Don't just seek counsel from those who always agree with you or who are dazzled by the fact that you finally found someone. Seek counsel from those who will tell you the truth, even if it risks upsetting you. Be the man whose masculine energy is strong enough to say, I could move forward on feelings alone, but I choose to wait for clarity because my heart, my purpose, and my future marriage are too important to gamble. Remember, your soulmate is not just a pretty face or a good time. She is a partner in purpose. That is why God will often let people who carry spiritual weight in your life see glimpses of how she fits or doesn't fit into your calling. Maybe your mentor notices how she respects your boundaries and encourages your spiritual growth. Maybe your pastor sees how you serve better, lead better, and love people more consistently when you are with her. Those are not random details. That is confirmation. On the other hand, if the people who know your walk with God start saying, you've been more distant, more irritable, less focused since you started seeing her, don't shrug that off as they just don't understand. You must ask yourself, is this relationship helping me become the man God is shaping me to be or pulling me away from Him? A man who truly wants to attract women in a way that honors God and reflects healthy masculine energy will not fear wise input. He will welcome it as part of the process. Don't treat spiritual counsel as an optional accessory you add when you want a second opinion. Treat it as essential equipment for navigating your heart. Be intentional about it. Bring your relationship into the light. Ask your pastor to pray with you. Share honestly with a trusted friend who has a solid marriage and a strong walk with God. Listen not just for their words, but for the spirit behind them. Do they feel peace or do they feel a check? That is often where God speaks the loudest. When God is truly introducing you to your soulmate, He will not only stir your heart, He will also surround that relationship with a sense of safety, clarity, and confirmation through voices that love Him and love you. A high value man understands that this doesn't make him less of a leader in his own life. It makes him wise, guarded, and deeply aligned with God's will. Don't rush past that process. Be patient, be discerning, and be willing to slow down when wise voices say, wait. In the end, spiritual authority is not there to control your decisions, but to help you see clearly enough to make the right one, so that the woman you choose is not just someone who can attract women's attention alongside you, but the one who can walk with you, pray with you, and build with you as your true God-ordained soulmate. If God is sending confirmation through wise voices, don't ignore it, honor it. A real man listens before he leaps, because protection is also love. And if this hit you in the heart, comment below right now. I welcome godly counsel over blind emotion. Like this video, subscribe for more unshakable wisdom, and remember, feelings can fool you, but discernment will save you. 5. God brings clarity, not confusion. When God truly introduces you to your soulmate, He does not bring noise. He brings clarity, purpose, and direction. Clarity is the signature of divine alignment. Confusion is not. When a woman is truly meant for you, Your mind won't wrestle with your heart, and your heart won't question your worth. You won't be drained, you'll be refined. That is old Stoic wisdom. That is the psychology of divine alignment. That is the moment when logic and emotion shake hands instead of entering battle. As Marcus Aurelius said, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. And the right woman, the woman sent by God, will improve those thoughts, study those thoughts, sharpen those thoughts. Don't chase a connection that turns your masculine strength into doubt. Don't chase a romance that costs you your peace. Don't call emotional chaos destiny. Call it what it is, a warning. When your spirit has to fight just to feel valued, that is not love. That is not fate. That is not a match made in heaven. When she is sent by God, you don't feel lost, you feel found. You feel like you've stepped onto the path you were meant to walk. She doesn't make life heavier, she allows you to carry it better. She doesn't change your direction, she clarifies it. That is the difference. That is divine order. Real love is not a storm, it is a compass. Let's strip away illusions. Let's call things by their real names. Confusion is not passion. Doubt is not chemistry. Emotional warfare is not destiny. A healthy relationship doesn't demand that you sacrifice your identity to save it. You must understand this. A man of purpose cannot afford a relationship without alignment. You must protect your mission. You must protect your peace. You must cultivate an iron mind because everything worth keeping begins with mental strength. Stoicism win begins when you refuse to negotiate your value. She should not just make you feel good, she should make you feel focused. She should not just make you smile, she should make you stand taller. That is divine alignment. The more you talk to her, the more you discover who you are. The more you open your heart, the clearer your mind becomes. As C.S. Lewis once said, we are what we believe we are. A God-sent woman will strengthen that belief. She will not weaken it. You must ask yourself, does this connection sharpen me or scatter me? Does it energize my masculinity or does it drain it drop by drop? Does it inspire discipline or does it feed insecurity? Sometimes, God answers your prayer not with a yes, but with a red flag. Pay attention. Don't explain away the warning signs that are actually answers. Don't ignore anxiety that shows up every time you try to move forward. Don't let feelings blind you from reality. Let's be real, modern life is full of distractions, illusions, and temptations. It's easy to mistake energy for connection and chaos for chemistry. But a man who masters his mind masters his life. That is why Stoicism win and Old Stoic wisdom matter today more than ever. In a world that celebrates noise, you must learn to listen to quiet truth. In a world that glorifies emotional chaos, you must value spiritual clarity. Real strength is not reactive, it is selective. Real masculinity is not loud, it is steady. Don't chase the woman who entertains your loneliness. Wait for the one who aligns with your purpose. Wait for the woman who respects your time, your values, your growth. That is not weakness. That is power. As Sun Tzu said in The Art of War, victorious warriors win first and then go to war. A man with an iron mind wins internally before pursuing externally. True love doesn't distract you from your mission, it fuels it. It doesn't consume your energy, it invests in it. It doesn't make you smaller, it demands that you become greater. Don't settle for emotional warfare when you were built for emotional strength. Don't tolerate confusion in the name of romance. Don't confuse attachment with alignment. God brings order, not disorder. Purpose, not panic. Direction, not distraction. Stand firm in your values. Protect your peace like a warrior protects his homeland. You must cultivate the discipline to walk away when peace starts to die. You must develop the spiritual courage to say, this connection is not sharpening me. This is not clarity. This is not God. Because sometimes the most powerful way God answers your prayer is by removing the people who are blocking it. And sometimes the most powerful sign of divine love is the peace you feel when you stop forcing what wasn't meant for you. That is where strength begins. That is where true love lives. That is where Stoicism win becomes real. Master your emotions. Guard your spirit. Never apologize for demanding clarity. A man guided by purpose will always recognize the difference between distraction and destiny. When she is truly sent by God, you won't feel chased, you'll feel chosen. You won't feel confused, you'll feel certain. And certainty is not weakness. Certainty is power. Certainty is peace. Certainty is divine alignment. That is Old Stoic wisdom. That is the path of the iron mind. That is how you master life and win. 6. God uses timing as a test, and every second counts. Sometimes, the right person walks into your life too early, not to start the story, but to check if your pen is even ready to write. It's not rejection, it's inspection. It's not failure, it's feedback. That is divine design. That is one of the oldest psychology tricks of life itself. Your soulmate may appear not as a beginning, but as a mirror. In female psychology, timing is often the silent test. She doesn't just ask, "Do you want me?" She asks, "Are you ready for me?" And most men miss that question entirely. Don't mistake opportunity for obligation. Sometimes her presence is not permission, it's preparation. God doesn't just bring her into your life. He checks if you have the strength to keep her in your life. You may know how to fall in love, but do you know how to stay in love when responsibility shows up? That is a different league. That is the test that separates boys from men. The timing test, the one every man faces silently. Don't panic when she arrives too soon. Don't run. Don't chase. Observe. That moment reveals everything: your habits, your weaknesses, your discipline, your emotional strength, your masculinity. She may not be the start of the chapter. She may be the teacher of the chapter. She might not be a soulmate yet. She may simply be your syllabus. One of the greatest psychology tricks life plays on men is this: you meet her right when you think you're ready, so life can prove whether you actually are. And in female psychology, women naturally sense the difference between a man who wants love and a man who is ready to build it. Readiness is attractive. Discipline is magnetic. Purpose is irresistible. If you want to understand how to fall in love and make it last, don't just chase chemistry, build character. Your waiting season is not punishment, it's preparation. It's strength training for your spirit. It's where your emotional muscles grow. It's where your vision sharpens. It's where God asks you, are you a man who reacts or a man who leads? Be careful. Some men confuse loneliness with readiness. Don't. Loneliness wants attention. Readiness builds connection. And connection is what female psychology responds to most deeply. Be disciplined. Be intentional. Be the man who does not beg for love, but attracts it naturally. A high-value man doesn't wait for a soulmate to rescue him. He becomes someone worth meeting. He develops the habits of leadership, the emotional strength of protection, and the vision of a builder. That's the foundation of how to fall in love without losing yourself. Here's the secret: a real soulmate doesn't complete you, she complements your mission. That means you must have a mission first. Women are not looking for perfection, they are looking for trajectory. They want to see that your life is moving somewhere. They want direction, purpose, and masculine stability. In female psychology, love is not just emotion, it's investment. A woman doesn't just fall in love with you, she falls in love with where your life is heading. Your waiting season matters. If you waste it scrolling, doubting, complaining, you'll fail the test when timing arrives. But if you use it wisely, studying psychology tricks, learning how to fall in love with purpose, mastering female psychology with respect and wisdom, then the right timing becomes a gift instead of a lesson. Don't fear silence. Don't fear waiting. Silence is where kings are built. It's where you discover what you truly want. It's where you sharpen your mindset and align your habits. You must accept this. Love is not luck. Love is preparation. Attraction is not accidental, it's intentional. As one wise man said, the day you plant the seed is not the day you eat the fruit. That is love. That is timing. That is growth. Maybe God is not withholding love from you. Maybe He's upgrading you for it. Maybe He's not ignoring your prayers. Maybe He's protecting you from showing up unprepared. Because love is heavy. The wrong man drops it. The right man builds with it. Your habits determine which man you will be. So ask yourself, if the right woman walked into your life today, would you strengthen her life or add weight to it? Would you elevate her spirit or drain it? Would you inspire her or apologize for not being ready? That question reveals everything. That moment shows whether you know how to fall in love or whether you still need to grow before love can reach you. You must become the kind of man who makes love easier, not heavier. Your soulmate is not coming to fix your life. She's coming to expand it. She's not a rescue mission. She's a reinforcement. And God will not send reinforcement to a man without a battle plan. So when timing feels wrong, step back. Don't chase. Don't collapse. Build. Grow. Upgrade. Study psychology tricks. Embrace female psychology. Learn how to fall in love without losing your purpose. Because love is not about what fills your heart, it is about what builds your life. When the test of timing arrives, stand tall. Be ready. And remember, a soulmate is not your finish line. She is your teammate. God doesn't just introduce her to you, He prepares you for her. That's not delay, that's strategy. That's not rejection, that's alignment. That is timing. If this message spoke to you, like the video, share it with someone who needs to hear it and drop a comment to join the conversation. Don't just watch, grow. Comment to remember, preparation makes me ready for the right person, not desperate for them. 7. God speaks through your growth. God doesn't usually introduce your soulmate with thunder, fireworks, and a big neon sign. Most of the time, He uses something quieter, smarter, and far more powerful, your growth. That is the psychological trick you must pay attention to. When a woman walks into your life, don't just ask if you like her, if she makes you laugh, or if the chemistry is good. Ask yourself a harder, more honest question. Am I becoming a better man because of this woman? That is the test. A real connection from God doesn't just stroke your ego, it stretches your character. It doesn't just make you feel wanted, it makes you want to rise. You must look for the subtle upgrades in your life. Are you more disciplined with your time? Are you more honest with yourself? Are you more focused on your purpose than on your distractions? A woman sent by God will not pull you away from who you are supposed to be. She will pull more of that man out of you. She will not dim your masculine energy. She will call it up, challenge it, and respect it. When you are around a true soulmate, you start to feel like a high-value man in your own eyes, not just in hers. You stand taller. You think clearer. You move with more intention. You don't just want to attract women. You want to attract purpose, responsibility, and real love. Be very careful with any situation where you feel yourself shrinking. If you notice you're dumbing down your opinions, hiding your dreams, or walking on eggshells just to keep the peace, that is not love, that is fear in a nice outfit. Don't ignore that. God doesn't send someone into your life to make you smaller. He doesn't send a partner to make you confused, insecure, or constantly anxious. If being with her makes you feel like you're losing your edge, losing your drive, or losing your spiritual footing, you must stop and pay attention. Your nervous system is talking. Your spirit is talking. God is talking. A woman aligned with your destiny doesn't compete with your purpose. She complements it. She doesn't mind that you are passionate about your mission. She is drawn to it. That is how a high-value man and a high-value woman recognize each other, through alignment, not just attraction. You don't have to chase her with desperate energy, pretend to be someone you're not, or perform to keep her interested. Instead, you naturally attract women who respect who you are because you're finally standing in who God called you to be. Your masculine energy feels calm, strong, and grounded around her, not frantic, needy, or unstable. Pay attention to how you behave when she's in your life. Do you start waking up earlier, handling your money better, thinking longer term, and tightening up your boundaries? That is God speaking through your growth. Do you feel more accountable, more willing to admit your mistakes, more eager to lead with integrity? That is God shaping you into a truly high-value man, not just a man with nice words and good intentions. Don't get fooled by temporary sparks that leave you emotionally burnt out. Be wise enough to see that some women help you attract women, attention, and validation, but a soulmate helps you attract peace, progress, and purpose. Some connections are sugar. They taste good in the moment, but rot you from the inside. A God-sent woman is more like solid food. Sometimes it's hard to chew because she challenges you, but it builds you, strengthens you, and sustains you. Your masculine energy should feel invited to step up with her, more protective, more decisive, more responsible, not forced to step back, apologize for being a man, or mute your natural leadership. Don't settle for comfortable conversations that never push you to grow. Don't settle for a relationship where your dreams go on the shelf while hers are worshipped. Don't settle for a love that costs you your self respect. You must remember, God doesn't just send love, He sends alignment. That is the real blessing. When you are with the right woman, you feel a quiet push to get your life together. You suddenly care more about your health, your spiritual life, your career, your legacy. You think about the example you're setting for any children or younger men watching you. You start acting like the high value man you always wanted to be, and your desire to attract women shifts into a desire to attract the right woman and build something real. Your masculine energy becomes less about controlling others and more about controlling yourself. Less about ego, more about purpose. Less about games, more about growth. So listen, don't just pray for a soulmate and then ignore the homework that comes with her presence. Be alert, be honest, be brave enough to walk away from anyone who makes you weaker, even if the chemistry is strong. A true soulmate doesn't just feel good, she makes you good. She doesn't just make your life exciting, she makes your life expand. That is how God speaks, through your progress, your transformation, and the man you are becoming while she is standing beside you. A word for the waiting heart. Maybe you've been waiting, praying, and wondering if love is even part of your story. Let me encourage you. God is not withholding love from you, He is refining it. You don't have to chase what heaven is arranging. You don't have to settle out of loneliness. You don't have to compromise your values to feel wanted. The person God has for you will meet you in your purpose, not your panic. You will not have to beg for their attention or lose yourself to earn their affection. And when the time comes, it won't just feel right, it will be right. Because what God orchestrates, He also sustains. So if you're waiting, keep trusting. If you're healing, keep surrendering. If you're serving, keep moving. Because the best stories are always written by the author of love himself. And when He introduces you to your soulmate, the connection won't just bless your heart, it will glorify His name. Your story isn't over. In fact, the best chapter is just about to begin. Friend, remember this. True love isn't something you chase, it's something you grow into. God doesn't rush what is meant to last. So stay faithful, stay grounded, and let your heart become ready, not desperate. The right person won't pull you away from your purpose. They'll help you step deeper into it. Speak Balloon if this message spoke to you. Please like the video, leave a comment, and share it with someone who needs this reminder today. Thank you for spending this time with me. I appreciate you. Until next time, stay blessed, stay hopeful, and remember, God is still writing your story. Folded hands, see you in the next video.